Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a lesson on harmonics. So we're going to go through 4 different ways or techniques to play harmonics, starting with natural harmonics like this, artificial harmonics, pinched harmonics, and tapped harmonics. So I've put together a worksheet to go along with today's lesson. It's got 3 pages of harmonic exercises, plus the song Amazing Grace, all in harmonics, which is pretty fun. So anyway, if you want to kind of hone in and get more precise with your harmonics and have the tab for today's lesson, follow the link above. You can grab it from my Etsy store for $3. Now, all these techniques can be played on either acoustic guitar or electric, so whichever guitar you have, you'll be totally fine. Concepts like pinched harmonics are much easier on electric guitar, but they can totally be played on acoustic. It just takes some extra practice. Now, if you do have an electric, go to your bridge pickup. That's going to be the best, and put some gain on your amp. That's going to make learning these a lot easier. All right, so let's start with natural harmonics. So I'm zoomed way in with my macro lens. We're going to be playing up on 7th fret here. So normally when you play, you depress the string until it touches the fret and pick the note. There you go. When you want a harmonic, you're going to take your finger and slide it over top of the fret. And instead of pressing down, you're just going to float your finger over top. So it's really important that you're on top of the fret and that you don't push down until you touch the fret. You just float your finger over top and then pick with your right hand. So on the thick strings, hopefully you can really see how I'm not actually barely pressing down on the string and certainly not touching the fret. You're just floating over top. And that's the technique for playing a natural harmonic. Now, natural harmonics are the easiest to play on 5th fret, 7th fret, and 12th fret. So if you just go through your strings, it sounds like this. And 12th. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on. Let's start by learning that intro riff that I did. Let's check it out. All right, let's take a look at a couple different ways to practice natural harmonics. So let's start with that little intro lick. We're going to go from 5s to 7s to 12s to 7s, okay? And we're going to go 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string, and then 2nd string, 1st string, okay? So here's what it sounds like. All right, try that again. Awesome. Now, the last part is going to be a little trickier on acoustic, but if you have lots of gain, it's not too bad. We're going to do a little arpeggio, and it's going to go 5, 4, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the whole thing. Now, as you're practicing harmonics, don't be afraid to really dig in hard with your right hand while just floating with your left hand. So normally we're used to, having a decent touch with the left hand. You have to lighten it up, just float it across the strings, but feel free to really dig in with that right hand. That'll help the harmonics pop. All right, let's jump on to technique number 2, artificial harmonics. Here we go. All right, here we go. So I'm going to take my index finger and play the 12th fret. And just like with natural harmonics, I'm going to go on top of the fret. So not playing in the middle of the fret, going right on top and lightly touching. So I'm not going to be touching the fret, just floating my finger. Then my thumb is going to play in behind it. So just like so. So I have obviously a lot of nail on my thumb because I'm used to playing, acoustic fingerstyle guitar. If you don't have nail, it might be a little trickier, but that's the technique. You use your first part of your finger to hit the harmonic, whether it's 5, 7, or 12 or whatever. Then you use your thumb or one of your other fingers in behind to play the note. Okay, so that's the first part of it. Now the second part of it, where it gets really, really cool, is you can outline whatever chord shape you want. So in this example, we're going to use an A minor chord, then an F major 7, which is just 3, 2, 1 on strings 4, 3, and 2. Okay, so we're going to use A minor. I think think most of us know that chord. F major 7, like this. Then C. Then I think G over B. I'm trying to remember. This is off the worksheet as well. But anyway, so I think we've got A minor, F major 7, C, and G over B. Now what we're going to do is take those shapes and outline them with our right hand. So here we go. This is where, like I said before, it gets really, really cool. So I'm holding down and pressing that A minor chord. So I'm not going to move my left hand at all. I'm going to take my right hand and outline it. So we're going to go open, or 12, 14, 14, 13, and open. And that outlines the exact finger shapes we have with our left hand. Okay, and then you just depress the string slightly, use your thumb. Okay, then I'm going to switch to that F major 7 chord, and again I'm going to outline it. So third fret, second fret, first fret. Cool. Then C. And then that G over B. Okay, and with my left hand again, like I showed you before, I'm playing A minor, F major 7, C, and G over B. So it is a technique that takes a while to master, but man, you can do some really cool effects with it. Yes, the squeals of rock and roll. Pinched harmonics are such a fun technique. Let's check them out. So with my left hand here, I'm going to be playing on just the A minor pentatonic scale. So I'll just grab notes off that scale. I'll tell you which notes I'm using, and then we'll talk about our pinched harmonics. Now, it is a right hand technique. So normally, let's grab that D note, 3rd string, 7th fret. Now, normally if I play that, I might play it with you know, a perpendicular stroke, or I might angle my pick, depending on what kind of attack I want. Now, if I want to do a pinched harmonic, what I do is I choke up on my pick a little bit, so you can see there's not much, you know, showing past my thumb. Then I play the note and roll it on, and the string contacts the side. Oh, sorry, I'll bring it into the camera. The string contacts the side of my thumb. That's how you do a pinched harmonic. So you play, and then you just roll your thumb. Hopefully here I'll get an angle that will show that. Play and roll. Okay, and the note that I'm getting is 2 octaves up from the D. So my first octave will be on 10th fret here, and then up on 22nd fret. So that's the note I'm getting. And of course you can get more. So you can hear I can get sort of a triad. So a root note, then the 3rd, and the 5th. So depending on what kind of squeal you want, you can just kind of move your thumb back and forth. And it's just a matter of finding the right spot on the string. So just try a series of them. Kind of back and forth, up and down, till you find the spot that is the perfect squeal for what you want. Now in the worksheet, I've got a few exercises that just practice, you know, grabbing different harmonics off the pentatonic scale. Some little simple lick like that, and then grabbing grabbing that 5th fret, and then grabbing the 7th fret, and just practicing things like that. But you could actually practice, you know, larger chunks of your scale. You just have to move your right hand kind of just back and forth to simulate playing the shape of your pentatonic scale, which is pretty cool. So you can do little exercises like that as well. All right, you guys, we're on to our final technique. This is the tapped harmonic and the touched harmonic. All right, you guys, touched harmonics or tapped harmonics. These are, you know, probably my favorite technique of all of them. And if you guys have seen me play for any length of time, you know I use these touched harmonics. like constantly when I'm soloing and stuff. It's just become a part of my style. So really cool stuff. Let's check out the technique. Now the acoustic tapping that I showed you was just hitting a chord, in this case E minor, and then tapping with your right hand on top of the fret on 12th. Now as for single note tapping, I'll take my index finger and tap notes 12 frets up from the fundamental. So if my phrase is G, A, C, D off the pentatonic, I might take that and use my index finger and just tap 12 frets up. Okay, so that's a really interesting technique as well. And you can do any note, you just have to go 12 frets up and tap it. Now, you guys are probably more used to hearing me using touched harmonics, and I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about it, but it sort of sounds like you take the fundamental note and go into feedback right away. Just like that. So all I do is I take my middle finger, touch 12 frets up right on top of the fret. So that's a technique I use all the time. So let's walk through that really heavy intro riff, that one. I get questions about that riff all the time when I use it just because it sounds so awesome. So anyway, it's got that touched harmonic in it. Now you can touch 12 frets up, 7 or 5, just like your regular harmonics. So in this case, we're going to be going up 5 frets and we're going to be touching right here on 7th fret on the back. So that's the part that really needs to be practiced, probably for most people. The rest of the riff is not too bad. So we start with an E5, and then we hit our G, and you can give it a little quarter bend there just to give it a little attitude. Okay, so we go. And then we do a muted note, so. Then we do A note, 2nd fret, 3rd string. And when we're done bending, that's where we do the touch. Okay, so that's the tricky part. You're going to need a lot of gain to get it to pop. And then I'll give it another little attitude bend. So you don't have to do like the little articulation bends, but this is how I played it. Okay, so that's the tricky part, but it sounds super cool. And then the second part. And then we just have triplets. So 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 5. And I'll usually palm mute that part just because it is faster. So just those triplets. There's the full riff. Let's play it nice and slow. So there really are so many interesting and unique ways and techniques to use harmonics, so hopefully this video helped you guys out and inspires you to try some new ideas. Again, if you want some practical ways to expand upon what we talked about today, feel free to grab the worksheet right here. Other than that, you can check out the t-shirt store in the link below. Have a great week, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.